And after that, here white goes for rook to d1. But some of you might be thinking, after this move, here why white didn't go for long castling? I mean, it looks good for white and it also ensures the safety of white king, right? But you are wrong. Basically, this is not a good move for white, because in this position, black can start launch an attack by pushing c5, attacking this pawn chain. And suppose if white captured on c5, and obviously we cannot recapture due to the threat of queen takes b7, so that's why here black can develop his knight to d7, which targets this pawn on c5. And if suppose white captured on b6, that will be a huge mistake because of bishop takes c3, and obviously white cannot recapture with the queen due to the threat of rook to c8 pin. So that's why here white is forced to recapture with the b pawn. And after that, here black can bring his knight to c5, attacking this queen. And after that, suppose if queen moves to b4, simply we can capture this pawn. And now clearly you can see this is better for black due to this open a file as well as this strong central knight, and this queen can anytime jump to f6, which targets this weak c3 pawn. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move rook to d1, and that's a mistake. But I didn't understand that why white didn't capture this free pawn on d5. And after that, simply bishop takes d4. And now white has option to capture this either with the rook or with the pawn. And basically both are fine. I mean, white can capture this bishop either of any of them. But here white decides to capture this by rook takes d4 so that he can activate his rook. But after that, here Kasparov decides to bring his knight to c5, which attacks this queen. And now it's better for white to continue this game by pushing d5, attacking both pieces. And suppose after knight to f4 check, simply bishop to e2. And yes, black can capture this pawn on g2 with a check, but white can simply slide his king to f1. And after that, here black can finally defend his bishop to d7. And yes, this position is still better for black, but it can be holdable for white if black made any mistake in future. But in the actual game, after the move rook to e8, what white there did will blow your mind, because after this move, he blundered by pushing f3. Basically, he wants to create an escaping square for his king, but he forgets that the player in front of him is not an ordinary player. He is Garry Kasparov, one of the best chess player of all time. And in this position, Garry Kasparov sacrificed his bishop by bishop takes f3. This is because suppose if queen takes f3, simply knight to g5 check. Knight to g5 a discover check, and in the next move white has to lose his queen. So that's why after bishop takes f3, here white decides to capture this with his g-pawn. And that's what Kasparov wants, because after that he instantly brings his queen to h4, giving him a check. And obviously white cannot move his king to e2 due to the threat of knight to f4 checkmate. So that's why after this move he decides to defend this check by rook to f2. And after that, Kasparov captured this pawn on d4. But guys, instead of knight takes d4, it's better for black to bring this knight to f4. This is because suppose after he defends by his bishop, now comes knight to g2 check. taking benefit of this spin, and obviously if king to d2 then queen takes f2. So that's why suppose if king to f1, now comes knight to e3 check, and in the next move white has to lose his queen. But in the actual game, after knight takes d4 and that's a mistake. Instead, he must consider the move queen to a4, so that this move, so that whenever this rook moves to suppose anywhere, then white can capture this rook. And after that, here Kasparov goes for rook to d3, taking benefit of this pinned bishop. And now in this position, Kasparov finds another legendary move, knight to f3, sacrificing this knight as well as this rook. And let's suppose if white captured this knight by bishop takes f3, then after simply rook takes f3 and white has to lose his queen. And suppose after this move, if bishop takes d3, simply knight takes h2 checkmate. So you can see this rook is, so as you can see, this rook is pinned by this queen, and this e file is already covered by this rook. So that's why after knight to f3, after seeing this all, here white decides to guard his rook. And after that, Kasparov also defended his rook to e3. And in this position, the final move by Kasparov is b5, and in this position Elmar resigned. This is because suppose if game continues like knight takes b5, now comes rook takes e2, attacking this queen, takes, and now comes queen takes g2 check, king to d3, and finally queen takes h1. And you can see this is all over for white. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.